Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this the first live of masteryourfinances.uk. I'm very pleased to be here with you tonight, and it's the very first live that we do in this channel in English. We've done loads in the Portuguese one, so I'm delighted to be here with you today, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation regarding leadership and personal finances. And for that, I have invited somebody very special to me. She's my personal friend, and she's very good. She's very intuitive. She's a great professional, and she's great at what she does. And we're going to talk about the relationship between money and personal finances. First of all, can you give me a thumbs up or a smiley face just to make sure you can hear me? Because I can hear a little bit of echo, so I don't know if it's me or if it's just an impression. And then we can start this. So before we start, I just wanted to ask you to invite everybody you know to this session that we're going to talk about what I do as a personal finances mentor and what Fede does as a leadership coach. So I'm going to invite you, no more delays. I'm going to invite her to join this conversation. And if you can just give me 1 minute. Yay. She'll be joining. Hey, hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Leticia.
Hello, Fede. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very excited to be here today.
Nice.
Very first live in English, so we'll never forget this day. And I
Wow,
hope
you're
this is,
first.
yeah, I hope this is the first one of many
I'm sure.
lives that you do in the future, and I also do in this channel in English.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, I'm going to start asking you questions, but before I do, I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself, to tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes. So, hi, everyone. I'm Federica Esposito, and my business is called Leadership75. So, Leadership75 is the combination of two elements. The word leadership, that everyone knows, is our own power and our own personal leadership. And the number 75 stands for wisdom, introspection, and intuition.
Wow.
Yeah. And what I do is coaching. And I coach leaders, and I actually coach in a very special way. So I coach with horses.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away just yet. But
Oh,
Fede, before you do this, I can only see you up to here. Um, yes, that's much better. Yeah, now I can. You're cutting your head a little bit. Yes, perfect. Now it's perfect.
okay.
Thank you. So just, sorry for interrupting you, but I just
Yeah.
wanted also to create a little bit of curiosity. So
Yeah.
I'll stop you now, and then I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Leticia Fonseca, and I say that I am the dreamer of Master Your Finances. And Master Your Finances is a community mainly for women to help them deal in a more positive way with money. We know that money can be a big taboo in people's lives. So I help people from wherever they are in their personal finances journey, no matter if they're in debt, if they have no money, if their finances are all over the place, all the way until investing. So, and it's mainly investments in the UK. I would say mainly it's 100% investments in the UK. So I just wanted to give a quick introduction. So if you
Amazing.
don't mind, I'm going to interview you, Miss.
Of
So
course.
now, now I would like you to talk to us about how you coach people, you coach leaders, as you said. So how do you do that? You said it's in a very special way. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, sure. So what I do, I actually use horses in my coaching. So I am an equine assisted coach. That means that most of the times when I coach, the horses are actually present with me, next to me in the sessions. And sometimes that's not possible. So when they are not actually physically in the sessions with me, they are my source of inspiration. So I use the wisdom of the herd and of these animals that are. Did you know that horses have been in the world for 65 million years?
So was it even before us or
Yeah.
not?
A long time before us, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and that helps me and to actually extrapolate lessons of how horses have survived that long and what that means for leadership. So I tell them stories about leadership in the herd and what makes a herd strong, and I use these to actually activate something within people, so that they then can activate their inner leader.
Right. So let me digest this a little bit. And I purposely didn't want to have this conversation with you before because I wanted to be curious and ask questions that maybe other people here would like to ask. By the way, please feel free to send us questions. So you coach leaders who want to be better leaders with horses.
Yes.
So, but how? So when the horses are present, how do you do that?
Good question. So I do coach leaders mostly. Most of my, I just wanted to say this. Most of my coachee or clients are women, women leaders in business. But leaders, of course, is a very generic word. And it doesn't really, it's not exclusively for leaders. It's also for example, new managers or people who are aspiring leaders who would like to become leaders or even discover their personal power to
Wow.
to become better at making decisions in their own lives. So leadership is indeed very broad, and what I call, especially in equine assisted coaching, I talk about personal leadership, which is our own inner power that we have within ourselves to actually know what is best for us and to make the best decisions.
Right.
And we all,
So,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead, because I have another question.
remember that, don't forget. So we all have that power, but in our lives, in our situations, we often learn to please others. So we learn to be good kids, to have to do things, and at some point we don't know what we do, why we're doing what we're doing, whether we're doing it because we want to, whether we're doing it for ourselves, or because of patterns or inherited dynamics that we've got from our groups, or I don't know from where. So the horses really help because they are prey animals. They have a very, and because they've been in the world for so long. So prey animals, for those who don't know that, are animals that in nature are hunted. So they are eaten by other animals. And when you are a prey animal, you have to be extremely sensitive to your environment because anything could
To
be
protect
dangerous
yourself.
to protect yourself. And then horses have connected with us human beings, and they've, through the history, we've been on their backs through discoveries. We've gone find the world, and through war. In the beginning, before that even started, we also hunted the horses. So it's very important for a horse to understand clearly what our human intentions are and our emotions. So
So
yeah.
that's how you work with. So let me go back a little bit because
Yeah.
you said to me that sometimes people have an agenda. So they go to a session and they have an agenda. And because horses are so sensitive to their environment and to everything that is going on around them, they need to find out in order to feel safe,
Yeah.
possibly, and to trust the person that is around them. What are the actual intentions or the actual feelings? I
Yeah.
don't know if about about thoughts.
Mhm.
So how does that happen? So I don't know, somebody looks for help or searches for help because they want to be better managers or
Mhm.
deal better with their team, but then what can happen?
Yeah. So you've touched an extremely important point. Thank you for that, because I'm going to say that immediately for everyone. That is not always clear that when we work with horses in equine assisted coaching, we actually ask the horse what they can teach us. So in the riding sport, we are used to domesticating the animals and teaching them, domesticating them. But in this environment, we actually teach them what they can bring to us. And indeed, we often have all our intentions, our agendas, our
Our
plans,
wishes.
our wishes, yeah. and this and we as human beings have, we have culture that makes us different from the horses. The horses are very natural. They have learned to work with us, so they understand us, but they are more connected to the essence than we are. So if you think about it, we as human beings, we often talk about letting go of judgment, but I wonder whether that is even possible for a human being. We've created this world and this reality protecting ourselves. So we've created houses, shelters for ourselves to protect us from the external environment so that we can judge without that affecting us too much. So, and that way we've disconnected from reality and from nature. So I don't even know anymore if tomorrow is going to rain or not. Probably I'll tell you, I think, Leticia, tomorrow is going to be a lovely day because now the sun is shining. But of course, that's a sort of a judgment, is a sort of an assumption I've got. There might be all sorts of indication in the environment whether or not that's going to be the case. But that doesn't matter anymore because I've got still my food in the fridge if it rains tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So we've done all this so that we can be, in a way, we can protect ourselves and we can create a reality that is outside of, that is a bit disconnected from nature. So going back to your question, to a session, we've got all our agenda and we've got our intentions. We want to be better leaders, better managers. And these are all concepts. So concepts that we have created as human beings. But the reality in itself is not organized. So these concepts are created by us. And then that's why when we connect to a horse, we've got that really pure connection that brings us to the essence. So for example, if somebody comes to me and says, I want to be a better manager for my team, to guide my team better, what I say is then I always have the horse in like a round pen, that's a ring. And I invite them when they're ready to step into the ring and make connection with the horse. And then I ask them, choose the place in the ring where you feel most comfortable connected to the horse. And then I see where they stand. But it's so important where the place they choose. What's more important is the place the horse chooses, confronted to them. Because imagine, I asked you to go step into the ring and I say, Leticia, choose the place that's most comfortable for you, and you go and stand next to the shoulder. And next to the shoulder, I know from knowing the horses and their language, in the herd is the place that belongs to the foals, to the little ones. So if you're standing next to their shoulder, you're telling the horse, I'm the little one, you're the big one, please protect me.
Also, all these signs that not only humans send when they position themselves next to a horse, but also how the horse reads the position that I put myself in. My God, that is amazing.
Yes, and I don't tell my clients in advance, what they mean. I just see what happens. And then the horse, remember that for a horse, a small step forward or backward takes little, right, to change that position. So then it's possible that the horse makes a step forward or a step back and changes your position completely. So I then ask you, how do you feel? What happened? How did you feel before? How do you feel now? What do you feel has changed? And that is how the conversation started. So it can happen that some people come with a question around leadership, and then they put themselves in the false position, so in the little one. And then from the conversation that comes up, they are confronted with their actual size, we could say. So it comes up that, go ahead, ask me questions.
They don't feel that they're ready to be leaders because they feel little. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, that is an interpretation. that I wouldn't do. I would leave it up to them. I would simply, the power of this work is to pass on the horse's message as literally as possible. So I say, this place belongs to the foals, to the little one. So what do you get from your environment if you position yourself as the little one? And then it's up to the person to say, I'm not ready to be a leader, or I got it wrong, or I want to change this, or anything else, you know. That, and
Interesting.
what we were saying before about judgment, it's actually the power is to let it go as much as possible.
Wow.
And then
That is
often when
very
that comes
interesting.
up,
Mm.
and what is most powerful is that when that comes up, like a question like that, and the awareness that the person realizes, oh, I'm actually telling the environment that I'm the little one, what does it mean? What then the horse does. Because more often than not, the horse then changes position and makes a step back and puts you in the leader's position. So in the moment you realize there is something that here I need to work on, then something changes in the environment that makes that happen. And that is what makes this work and this awareness so instantaneous almost. And that you realize how much actually, as soon as you realize something and something is verbalized and there is an awareness, that you actually already activate a change in the environment.
Wow. I'm a bit curious
Can you hear
and
me? Are you still?
anxious about what my session is going to be like. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oops.
Oh, your internet. Ooh.
Are you
I
still
can hear
there?
you fine.
I
I
lost you for
am.
a bit.
Yeah. I was going to say I feel a bit anxious and excited about my session, what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I know. Many people are, that's the reaction I often get when I talk about it with someone.
Wow, that's very interesting. So I'm just going to, in a way, pause a little bit and let
Mm.
people, I don't know, absorb and think about this, what you've just said is very interesting. And in a way, we have, not in a way, 100% of the way, we have no control whatsoever because we can't control an animal the size of a
Hmm.
horse, right? So we have to
Yeah.
surrender to what they want to do and what they want to show us. So I'm just going to stop a little bit and tell, my work is actually really boring compared to what Fede just described. So when I help people with personal finances, it's more like a long line conversation with people, and we go through about the story around money and what the struggles are and what the challenges are and what they want to achieve, and see that the gap between where they are until to what they want to achieve, and then just see together what we can do. And it's sometimes it's people misunderstand and they think that I'm going to tell them what to do, and it's not like that at all. It's more like I'm going to teach them things about finances so they can make their own decisions and informed decisions around their own money. And that thing that people say, the best person to take care of your money is yourself, is perfectly right. You are the best person to make decisions about your money because you are the only one who knows about your life, your goals, what you want to achieve, your fears, your anxieties, and everything around money. But sometimes we don't even know how to get there, and that's why I can help. And that's how I can help, is by leading people into becoming aware of their difficulties and how they can overcome that, and just deal with money like any other tool. That I feel money is something that can take you places, can do things for you, and so you have to have control over it. So I just wanted
And
to it's really boring compared to the horses.
no, I wouldn't say it's boring, because that is, of course, also your first step towards personal leadership, right? And money
True.
is like the way I see it is a ticket towards your freedom and towards where you want to be,
Very
isn't it?
true.
Yeah, brilliant.
Fede, I think your internet is failing a little bit, and I think there's a delay, but we
Oh, it could
can,
be. I wasn't sure whether it was you or me.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's, I don't know, because yours, I say something and then you take a few seconds to answer. So, but we can
yeah.
try to, we can try to carry on. So,
Mm.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about what people are trying to achieve when they look for you for help. So how many sessions do you have to go through with them? How does that work? Do they have a period that they have to be with you or to be doing this work until they're ready to go and do their own thing themselves?
Good question. Actually, working with horses often, everyone is different, of course. Everyone needs more time. It depends on their question and the stage they're at. But the feedback I get from many people is that it's very quick. So one session is about an hour and a half, and I would say from experience, the results you get is equivalent of about 3 sessions, non-equine assisted, because of
Hmm.
the power of the message and how immediate that is, and the awareness that it activates within the person.
I
In the
see.
end, yeah. In the end, it's up to
Um,
the person to do the work. Yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry, there's a delay, so yeah, but I wanted to also ask you, how did that come about in your life?
It came about quite a long time ago, about 10 years ago, when I've always been passionate about horses. I love them. I used to ride since I was a child. And then later in life, I became interested into personal development. And I was going through a little bit of a time when I wasn't sure what career I wanted. So I sought help from a coach. And then at that time, I started riding again, and I noticed how good I felt around the horse. And then I went to an event, a horse event, and then I found this workshop called the Horse's Mirror, run by an equine assisted coach. This was in the Netherlands. And then I read the introduction, which was, horses can give insight into personal development. And I thought, okay, this is really my path. So I took part in the workshop, and then from there, I completely fell in love with the methodology. And
Hmm.
then since then, I started studying it, and and I brought it into my life as a profession as well.
Wow. And do you think everybody would be as sensitive as you were? Do you think you would work for everybody?
I don't think anything works for everybody. So there are definitely people from whom it doesn't work. Um, or that at least it doesn't activate as much as for others, or doesn't reveal things that they would reveal for others. So I think it works for those who are very open to seeing things and to accept things as they are, realizing that nothing has to change immediately. Um, so I think, yeah, it works for those who are happy to see things that want to be seen. Not
Hmm.
everyone. Sometimes we need a little bit more time. Sometimes we like protection, and maybe in that case, it may not necessarily work for everyone. So
I
yeah.
understand. My friend Anthony just said here, money and horses are both very interesting. Unfortunately, I have neither. I don't know about horses, but money is very easy for you to get hold of. Um,
Yeah.
but horses, they cost a little bit more.
Yeah, and you
So,
don't have, yeah, to experiment this type of work, you don't need to buy a horse. You can do a session in the UK, in Greater London. I work with several venues, so So yeah, it's definitely possible. Even I don't even have a horse these days, but I have lots of partners that have horses and are happy to let me work with theirs. Yeah.
Do people look for you for help with their finances, and you help them with the horses?
Yes, you can do. Or finances is one of the things that can have that they can, you know, struggle with. Often they come with a question, and often it's not even necessary that they tell me what they're struggling with. And if
Wow.
they're and if they're struggling with finances or with money, then what I would ask them is, for example, to place an object in the round pen in the ring that represents money. So take a cone or a blanket or a rope, put it on the ground, and follow your feet, see where it belongs, and then I observe what the horse does to it. So there was once a woman that had that. So she really wanted a career. She wanted to change jobs. She was struggling, and then there was this big challenge was the burden was money, the fact that she needed to earn to have the income from her job, but actually what she wanted was to change the career. And as soon
Mm.
as she realized that there were she actually verbalized, she said I don't remember exactly how it went, it was a long time ago, but she said I can make a plan and then I can do this. And what she actually recognized what was important to her, the horse actually, it was a cone that she'd placed in the middle of the ring for money, and the horse actually knocked the money over, knocked the cone over, and that was no longer an issue. So the horse was always hovering around the cone, protecting her from the money, like, okay, yes, there's no connection between you and money. And then as soon as she said, money maybe is not even that important. What is important really is my happiness. I don't care. And maybe I can do with less. And the horse actually went and knocked it over.
So while you were talking about it,
Yeah.
oh my
Because what
goodness.
mattered was the awareness that she had regarding money. Said, you know what, maybe money is actually not even the problem. The problem is me, the fact that I am seeing this as a problem. And maybe money is not important. Just what is important is my happiness, and I can do with less money. And the horse went and knocked it over.
Wow, this is so interesting. I'm already
Yeah.
starting to think what I would want to take to a ring, to take as wow, there's so many. And then
Yeah.
you can ask more than one, or you can discuss more than one issue, like several
Yeah.
different areas of your life in one session.
Yes, so what I normally ask people is to connect themselves. So there are several ways you can run a session. Sometimes I tell them, I leave it up to them. They can actually tell me their question if they have one, or their themes, or they can leave it just blank and connect internally with their own themes. Or sometimes what I also do when I don't know anything is to give them a task. So I've got task cards. I ask them to pick a task randomly. But the
Ah,
task is an excuse, it's actually a suggestion. The task could be get the horse to run. And I tell them it's actually an excuse. You don't have to do it. If you don't, you never do anything that doesn't feel right. That's rule number one. And then it's also interesting to see what happens, what a task does to the person. Some people are very performance oriented, so they absolutely want to do it. Other people, no way. As soon as they hear it's just a suggestion, you don't have to do it, they go, oh, okay. So there's very many ways of going about it. But what is interesting is, most interesting for me is that most of the time the question or the theme that people bring is in the end not that relevant. During the session, they realize that actually it's about something completely different.
I see.
There was a man once, I'll tell you this story. There was once a man who came to the session because he almost had a burnout. He was overworked. He didn't know what to do. He wanted to stop. He really didn't know what to do. It was all about work. And he
Yeah.
was working in the ring with a mare, so a female horse. And during the session, the mare made a sound like she went like, which is a very specific sound that a mare does only when they refuse the stallion during copulation. So when the stallion actually wants to make a baby, and she doesn't want it. So he noticed it, and we did too. And what we noticed is that he really said, "What is this? What does this mean?" So we actually translated it for him. We said, "Look, this is a very specific sound that a mare does when she's refusing the stallion. Is there anything maybe is it relevant to you?" And the man said, "Yeah, actually, yes, because me and my wife 2 years ago, our daughter was born, and the birth was very painful for my wife. And since that time, she's so traumatized that not much is happening in the bedroom." So there was a relationship problem, and he had actually jumped into work to not face it with not such good results, and he was getting a burnout out of it.
Wow.
So he
Wow.
came with a question that was professional and completely work related, and went away with something completely different, but it was so much more relevant to his situation.
To his life.
Yeah, and to his life.
Wow,
And that's what I mean when I say that working with a horse can give you so much insight and goes into the essence so much quicker. And that is maybe the result of, from my perspective, 3 coaching sessions on equine assisted. That's from my personal experience. Yeah.
That's very interesting. It also happens with money. Some people
Are you
think that
still
they
there?
have
Because I think
problems with work,
the
that they don't
connection
like
is
that work.
jumping a little bit.
I am. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Yeah. Can you
yes,
hear
I
me?
am.
Good.
I can hear you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So that also
Good.
happens with money, that people think that the problem is with work and relationship and everything. And when you go to track to the root of the problem, it's the way they're dealing with money. So a lot of things evolve around more than we would have liked, possibly around money. So that's very interesting. So Fede, just before we close off, I think the internet is sabotaging us. Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about any project that you're working on that you can invite people to?
Yes, so I have 2 dates for a workshop. If you want a taster session, I have 2 dates on the 25th of July and on the 8th of August coming up. So they will be in Greater London, probably in Kent. So if anyone is interested in experimenting and experiencing a session for themselves, please send me an email to info@leadership75.com. So I'll
Perfect.
perhaps leave maybe I can leave it down below in the comments later on.
Yeah, in the comments, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it after. So these are the next 2 upcoming dates. And then there will be more dates coming up, and it's always possible to do a session one-to-one. So if you're interested, follow me on Instagram, Leadership75, or send me an email at info@leadership75.com.
Yay, thank you,
Yeah.
Fede. And for me, I don't
Sure.
have any projects coming up in English, but I do see clients on a one-to-one basis. And for some reason I can't explain right now, I'm seeing a lot of couples, and my sessions are kind of like one-to-ones as with couples. And in my other profile, in the Portuguese one, I do have mentoring and group mentoring, and also there's a big course about personal finances coming up and organizing your personal finances to prepare you to invest, coming up very soon. So which is masterfinances.br, my other profile. But we'll keep on working here and then growing our audience and getting people to or getting more, people to know us. And we hope to be back very soon. Thank you so much, Fede, for accepting my invitation.
Thank you. It was great to be here. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining. It was a great pleasure for me. Have a lovely evening, everyone. And you, Leticia. Bye.
Good luck with the Italian game. And you. Bye-bye.